The collapse of the American dream is here. So let's watch the video.
Well, it's not just inflation anymore. It's practically an epidemic. And in 2025, surviving in America obviously is getting harder by the day, and millions of people are feeling it.
Listen to me. I will never be able to afford a house.
Why?
I will never be able to afford a house.
What do you say?
Home prices are rising nationwide as inflation remains stubborn and mortgage rates remain high as Americans compete for fewer available homes. Home prices in March were up 0.4% compared to February. Now that's the second month in a row that we have seen gains.
My parents' house that is $195,000 back in '96 is now worth like $500,000 to $700,000.
Ooh.
My children will never be able to have the life I live because I can't afford to do it.
I don't think any of us thought when we were growing up that owning a home would be a luxury. Like maybe we thought it would be a bit difficult, but not like a luxury that basically only the rich will be able to afford.
No one that works a full-time job should be facing homelessness. And that's what my family is facing right now.
Being completely radicalized by the rental housing market right now, I cannot
This guy's
believe that you can pay over $300 in non-refundable fees just to apply for an apartment.
A big part of the reason why
yes, that's crazy.
social life here in America is getting more and more difficult has to do with the fact that nobody can afford decent housing.
Everybody in America kind of knows, like, it's over. There will be no recovery. Like, this is not like the other times. This ain't like 2008 where, we'll crash and then we'll get back up.
Because right now, this economy...
Trust me, I still have hope, but I don't know.
This world is set up to make average American families fail.
And I'm appalled that our particular kind of capitalism not only fails to deal with the housing problem, but somehow routinizes it so that the homelessness is blamed on the homeless, blaming the victim kind of, because I can see why a society does it, because if you're such a failure at providing this basic human need, you better blame somebody, because otherwise you risk blaming yourself.
Probably gonna make some people mad, but I don't feel like 90% of us make enough money to even worry about the economy crashing. Everybody is like, the stock market's gonna crash, share prices are going down, and I'm like, I never got a share in the first place. The housing market is plummeting.
This guy is funny.
Maybe I'll finally be able to afford one. I want to be in a tariff tax bracket to where I can actually care. Rate we're going, no one's ever going to be able to afford a new car. I've not been able to do that anyway.
I can get my hands on a nice lump sum of money, baby. I'm buying land in another country and I'm out of here because there's nothing left here but struggle.
Hi there, my name is Tyler, and even though I work between 50 and 60 hours every single week, I am homeless living here in my car because of inflation. There wasn't any help to keep me in my apartment. Even though I paid my rent on time for 3 years, I got behind just 2 weeks because I lost my job for reasons outside of my control. And I called the city, I called the county, I called the state, I called charitable organizations like Salvation Army and churches, and I was told time and time again that there was no help for me. The most that was given to me was being put on a 7-year wait list for possible affordable housing. I believe that this is wrong. There's so many hardworking people like myself, tens of thousands of hardworking Americans that are out here trying to survive, but we can't afford a place to live anymore, and we're being forced to live in our cars, and I believe that is wrong.
Rent is so high, insurance is through the roof, groceries, your gas.
Trust me, everything is going crazy right now. So I'm in the state of Florida. I just moved from up north, New England, Boston, Maine, Vermont, you name it. I mean, I thought that coming up down here, things could have been a little bit good, like, renting. Up north, it's crazy. But here, I feel like I've just moved down here recently, but I feel like the wave of, expensiveness that's coming here, and it's right now people can't live here anymore. People are leaving Florida. I would literally make a video after this. People are leaving Florida. Why? Because it's no jobs. You will apply to over 200 jobs. Nowhere to be taken. Nowhere to be taken. It was crazy. But by the grace of God, I got a job. So it's really crazy. First off, I've seen people. I live when I move down here. I will move down here in a very, very amazing place. Me thinking that it was cheaper than up north. Then found out that this is one of the most expensive places that I had to live. And I'm like, no. I mean, for a long time, this is not affordable. I mean, I need to find a place that will be actually affordable for me, based on the income that people are having here. I mean, I just want to live a luxurious life, and knowing that the place where I live, that's actually the most expensive place. Like, no, I'll find a cheaper place, a safer place. Everywhere right now is dangerous anyway. So, yeah.
All of your basic expenses, everything is just kind of eating away at all of your paycheck. And there's not much left behind anymore. And it's not necessarily because people aren't budgeting or because they need to work harder. It's just so expensive. There does come a point where it is really difficult to keep up with all of the expenses. And that's what we're seeing right now. It's a system that is squeezing out the ordinary people, and billionaires are getting bailouts.
We've been priced out of buying a home. We've been priced out of going to the grocery store and just getting the things that we need. We've been priced out of medical care. We've been priced out of Social Security. We've been priced out of 401ks, retirements, everything. We've been priced out of life. We've been priced out of children. We've been priced out at every single step. And they wonder why we're not having children. Like, I don't, and then the people that are like, well, just work hard and just do this and just do that. You have never actually.
She's actually funny.
Lived in the time that we're living in right now. I wish all the boomers had to start over right now. Start from scratch, because the company that you're going to be hired to is not going to offer you benefits. You're not going to get health insurance. You're not going to get a 401k. You're not going to get barely any PTO, and you're going to get paid so much less. And
the leads are broke.
She's right. She's absolutely right. Like, whatever that she's talking about, she's actually funny. So talking about, let me see. I think she still has something to add on what she was talking about. What?
Comparison to what it was back then, cost of like people don't do the math actually right, because they're like, well, y'all are getting paid so much more. Da 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 da. The new $5 back when you were doing stuff is now $20. The new $20 back when you were doing stuff is $100. So we might be getting paid just marginally more, which actually minimum wage federally hasn't changed since 2009. Fact check that. I'm pretty sure it was 2009. Get out of here. The boomers, go. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We have been priced out of life.
Yeah, I don't really get what the plan is for like a future of American society when no one.
So what are the reasons? Okay, let me see. Let me go and do this research. Why things are getting more no. Why the cost of living is higher than ever? Why the cost of living in America, in the US, is so high? Let me see. Okay, I will show you this, guys. Okay, so the cost of living is high in the United States due to soaring houses costs driven by supply shortage, high inflation from supply chain distributions, and increased demand post-pandemic. Okay. Escalating healthcare expenses from complex profit-driven system and the significant financial burden of higher education. Oh, I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Okay, other factors include raising energy and transportation costs, high taxes. So my goal is why all these things are so high. I mean, I haven't found like the real reason, because don't tell me that this escalating. Okay, second housing cost. Why is all this still high? Why is all this still high? Okay, taxes in general increases in the cost of living and service. Okay, let me find out something really, with something productive. Why cost of living is so high in America? Let's watch this one. What do you say? What is this? Am I watching an ad right now? All right. They need to tell me. I need a reason.
Welcome to County Office, your ultimate guide to local government services and public records. Let's get started.
Why is cost of living so high in America?
Right.
The cost of living in America varies widely depending on location. Housing costs are a significant factor. In many urban...
Come on. It's everywhere. Not depending on location. Everywhere right now in America. Everywhere. Food, housing, everything is so high. I don't like this one already. Okay, but I will read. So in many urban area, housing demand exceeds supply, whatever. Why? Some reasons are political, which I'm trying to be as as politically correct as I can, bro. Why? Because I'm using it as somebody else's platform, so I'm just working here. But let's find out something that will be politically correct and informative. Let's go. Why is this? Okay, let's see. Nerd Wallet. What is this? I'm clicking on stuff right now. I'm glad that I have delete, but let's go. The rising of, okay. All right. We have an article. So the rising cost of living in America, the underreported story impacting everyday Americans. So as the cost of living continues to rise in America, many families are struggling to make ends meet. Inflation and wave stagnation have made it increasingly difficult for everyday American to keep up with their bills, rising up the necessities such as housing, gas, healthcare, and food. The severity of things are impacting millions of people in the country. So the economy is uncertain. What? I haven't found something like actually, you know what I mean, the response that I'm looking for. So over the last 3 decades, yes, that's correct. Americans' family has experienced a rise of in the cost of many necessities such as economy and security. In 2021, brief of the council of bro, I haven't some of the reasons. Can I just say it? Why are we sending more money to other countries, bro? That's billions, bro. Those billions, if we keep those, let me see. Let me do another research. How much is? I don't want to show you I will do my research, but let me just do this. Okay. What it will take to feed Americans with 200 billion. All right, I have the answer here coming. Wait 1 second. All right, so providing enough food for all the Americans with 200 billion annual budget is complex, but the American could significantly reduce food security and pair with the system changes. The primary change is not the budget size itself, but it's rather the logistics and distributions Okay, so it means this is doable. Those $2 billion could fix those $2 billion that the last political again, the last presidency, whatever, that money could fix so many things. Eggs, what else? Gas, what else? Housing, what else? Oh, start going crazy. All right, I'm not going to get into some crazy stuff, but let's continue with the video, bro.
Afford to have kids, they're clearly not going to do anything about the cost of housing being so expensive that no one can afford to buy homes, or no one who owns a home right now is ever going to buy a new one because it's so expensive. They're clearly not going to do anything about childcare being thousands of dollars a month, and the fact that you have to put your kid in daycare because you can't afford to have a one-parent household. And they're not going to do anything about student loan debt, and the fact that one or all three of those things prevent people from having kids because we can't afford it. I know part of what they're going to do is take away birth control, take away abortion until we don't have much say in the matter. But what is the plan for a country where no one can afford to have kids, where it's so inhospitable to have kids that people don't have kids? Like, I'm 30 years old. None of my friends have kids. There's a whole group of boomers that are retiring right now. A lot of them have homes where all their money is tied up in their home, and they're going to need to sell their home to afford to live for the rest of their lives, 10, 20, 30, whatever, how many years they have left. Who's buying their homes? We're not buying their homes. We can't afford to buy their homes. So, like, how are they going to live? What are they going to do? What are we going to do? Who's going to be in the future if no one has money to have kids? I don't understand like what anyone's plan is.
I don't
When somebody
either.
tells you they can't afford to have children, this is what they're talking about. A woman in my town's Facebook group shared these daycare rates today, and she said, how do you afford kids here? Because nobody knows how anybody is paying for this. For an infant for 5 days a week with 10 hours of care, it is $664 a week.
Yeah.
That is just shy of $35,000 a year for one child. And the price does not drop that much when they hit pre-K here. It's $521 a week, which is about like $28,000 a year, okay? These are incredibly high rates for daycare. And of course, you could...
Okay. There is always a question behind my back, okay? I don't think that you just wake up in the morning, you open a daycare, and then you put that price. There is a reason. Either there is a market for it, or, well, if there is a market for it, it means people need to go to work and need to put babies somewhere. That's the market. It means there's a market for it. Why is it expensive? Why are they not charging less? Well, maybe their tax also high. I don't know. So there is always a problem to a problem and a solution to a solution. So let's go.
Down to 9 hours a day or whatever it might be. But here's the thing. When you go to daycare, typically you're going to take the most hours because you have to commute to work, you have to commute back from work, and you have to work 8 hours a day. And unfortunately, when you miss pickup by 1 minute, they start charging you like $2 a minute. So usually it's more cost effective just to pay the higher rate for the 10 hours than to pay for the 9 hours, which is like crazy because it's 1 hour difference. These are rates for one kid. We were talking about one child. Imagine if a family has two kids. They're paying $50,000, $60,000 a year for childcare. That is unsustainable for most families. And yes, the cost goes down slightly as they get older. But what that doesn't account for, that rate sheet, is the...
Oh, I also heard that when the baby is like as little as possible, like they charge even more. Because I mean, I get it. You know, at that age, the baby is not independent. You know, they don't do certain things by themselves. So it's full 100% not custody, but, you know, full support. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Bro, we need to open like this business. But the thing is, right now, how are you going to open it? Where's the fund? You know what I mean? Like, we are all in this system, bro.
Increase. Every single September, daycare centers raise their tuitions because they have to. And typically that's anywhere between 5 to 20%. And most people are looking at 10% increase. So even though you have that savings when they hit pre-K, by the time your kid hits pre-K, it's been 4 or 5 years. That rate has gone up exponentially, okay? So when someone tells you they can't afford to have children, oftentimes it's because of the cost of childcare. And if it's not just the cost of childcare, it's the cost of housing and groceries. And you compound all those things, healthcare costs, it's incredibly expensive. I did not know, looking back 4 or 5 years ago when I first started having kids, that I would be paying this much money for daycare because the rates looked drastically different. The rates over the last 20 years or something have gone up like 200%. It is wild how expensive childcare is in our country. If we had affordable childcare, it would not only benefit families and children, it would benefit the economy, it would benefit businesses, and it would benefit us as a greater society. The economy would be better for it. This is not just a parent problem, right? But like people constantly are looking at adults who are married or of, you know, birthing years and saying, why aren't you having kids? And we're looking around saying, how could we possibly have kids when we can't even afford to buy a house?
Not even a house.
Imagine being able to build.
Not even a house, just a simple rent, bro. That's a simple rent. How can you make sure your future family is set for life, for a good life, if you can't even pay a rent? You know? Like, that's impossible. So that's some of the reasons. I never thought about that, actually. Thank you for doing that. Let's go back to the video.
Genuinely will never understand how some people can give birth to multiple children when they know they can't afford it. I say this respectfully. Because hear me out. It's one thing if you have 1 or 2 by accident. Life happens. We can't control that. But what we can control is after the 3rd, 4th, 5th child, at that point, you are more than well aware of how much a child costs and the financial burdens of it. I want multiple children too, but I know that I can't afford it right now. So I would never put my child in a situation where they have to live a hard life because of choices I made. Would never want to do that because I have been there as a child. I didn't live a very good life. I don't want to do the same thing my parents did. Worst thing you can do to a child is literally not give them a good life. That is literally a form of neglect. If you're going to have the child be able to support them financially, have a roof over their head and food on the table. If you can't do that, then maybe it's not wise to have the 3rd, 4th, or 5th child. Like I said, 1 or 2, I understand. Things happen, life happens. Unforeseen circumstances happen. But after the 3rd, 4th, and 5th one, like, you're aware at that point. And if you're going to have a child when you know you can't afford it, you're just going to give them a hard life, which I don't think is fair to the child because they did not choose to be born. But you chose to have another child when you knew you couldn't afford it.
We're moving to the area in this month. I was wondering if you guys have any availability, and if so, what the cost is.
We would be $2,430.
2,400, is that for a 12-month-old or an infant?
That would be for a 12-month-old.
Daycare.
Wondering what your availability looks like for full-time childcare.
Do not have a consistent spot. They're about 2.5 years old.
Okay.
2.5 right now would be our guarantee time frame. You're welcome. No problem at all. Hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye.
The dream used to be to have a home.
That dream is not a dream anymore. The dream of Americans is not a dream anymore. That's unfortunate. But, okay. We are going to end this video on a positive note, okay? I still believe that there is a hope for a great future. Well, not because I watch certain things, but because of my faith as well. The Bible is telling me that this time is not going to be easy, but I truly believe that if you believe this time is actually the greatest time in the world of the entire time. You know, it's the time where we have more billionaires than ever. And I truly believe that, we also have oh man, I'm just thinking about some political stuff that I want to get into, but I don't know, man. I don't want to put myself in trouble. Let me see some comment section here. I like people commenting because it's real people who are actually, expressing themselves. So, and what even more messed up is that you decide that this way of forced working for billionaires companies just to barely survive isn't for you, and you want to leave off the grid of the land. They made it illegal to do so, even if you own the land. Disgusting. I have another one. Unfortunately, in this near future, corporation will all us come completely. Yes. Actually, yes. So glad I didn't bring a kid into this. It's not about, bringing kid or not bringing kid. I think we have to make kid. I mean, some people, are making babies every single day. And that's like religious thing. I know some religions that are making babies now because they have an agenda. So we still need to make babies. All right. Look at this. So I'm a boomer. I have 3 children. I told them that I was okay with no having grandkids. That's crazy. I said, 1, you want them, or you can afford them. That's the bottom line. That's crazy. Dark days ahead of us. Yes. It's not in the dark days in terms of things. Some certain things need to happen so we can see the glory. You know what I mean? Dark days ahead of us. The mood is way off in America. Yes, that's true. That's true. So we have this long Bible that we need to read. So, okay, I'm a boomer and I can attest that some of us have gone through the same problems the younger generation are going through now. Every time I thought it was getting ahead and goalpost was moved. Okay, so maybe they're just telling us that it's still the same thing that went, they went through, but I don't think that they actually experienced the same wave. Why? Although in 1945, during the Cold War and all that stuff, not the Cold War, Second World War, WW2, that time, things were getting a little bit, going back into the 1980s, 70s and 80s, things were a little bit, but I don't think that it was at this level. Why? The reason why I say this is just because we are so much exposed to billions of dollars and extreme poverty. This wasn't supposed to be like in that atmosphere. I think being exposed to this technology, being exposed to billions of so many billionaires in the world than ever before, this is supposed to create a middle class with sustainable income, but that's not the case. So it's either you are an extreme rich or extremely poor. That's crazy. All right. And then she said, or they said, every time I thought it was getting ahead, blah, 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 renting sucks. Yeah, they want you to make 2 or 3 times what you are renting, even if you are qualified. This is crazy. No wonder people are living in their vehicles now. I'll get into that. Multiple people living in their cars. I have a friend who is actually in his car, in his van right now in California. He get paid a lot of money, but he can't afford the place, and he's stuck. That's crazy. So I love benefit at work too. Pay rent, pay 1, 2 down below. I moved to the different states to be closer to my grandkid. Oh, they have a grandkid. At least this one have a grandkid, because the other one say, I don't need any grandkid if that's what you guys want, because I don't want you to suffer, right? Every time has gone up, everything has gone up and disgustingly high. So I had a roommate. Reason why people are getting married now, because they just want to pay rent. That's crazy. I'll also get into that in another video. That's crazy. People are getting this in the relationship as quick as possible, and ends meet. That's crazy. And then all of a sudden, 3, 4 days divorce. That's not good. There is something going on, and it's not good. Something going on, but people, we need to pray. Bro, there is no way the housing prices can stay at the inflation price. Inflation, bro, this is crazy. So I'll continue to watch a little bit, but this is probably the end of the video anyway. Go.
Married, kids, everything, and now people are just doing solo life and not really thinking about having children anymore. And people are putting off marriage as well. There's a lot of people that are choosing not to get married or waiting till later in life, waiting to have children because they literally feel like they just can't afford to. And this is not anything particularly new as well. For generations, there have been people that don't want to get married and don't want to have kids, but there is a large increase in that now. And that's an issue because of lower population. There's a lot of countries now that are having lower population because, or there's going to be projected lower population. And I know there's a lot that goes with that. There's certain things that I won't say on here, but people should be fruitful and multiply. That's how we are able to sustain humanity. So
See, she also has something that she can't say. Why are we so silenced? Man, that's okay, bro. All right. I'll see you in the next video. I need to do this. I need to really process this, man. This is crazy. So there are things that we can't say. Okay. Like and subscribe. Do not forget to turn the post notification on, because this is, I really need to process this for real. Like, I'm serious. I really need to process this. There are things we can't say. And we know that. You and I know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't pretend. I know you know. I'll see you in the comment section down below. Let me know your thought about this video. And let's get to 2 likes. 2 likes. Let's go. Bye.